Darth Bane rose from obscurity to become one of the most influential Sith Lords in history. His formation of the Rule of Two was a strategy aimed at eliminating the chaos that plagued the Sith Order due to overambition and greed among its members. This rule mandated that only two Sith could exist at any given time, a master to embody the power and an apprentice to crave it, thereby ensuring that each Sith Lord must be cunning and powerful enough to survive. Bane's dedication to this rule stemmed from his belief that the Sith's greatest enemies was not the Jedi, but their own infighting. He observed that when many Sith Lords existed, they weakened themselves by constant power struggles, diluting the potency of the dark side. The Rule of Two sought to preserve the strength of the Sith, allowing it to accumulate and be focused in only two individuals at a time. However, Bane was not only a strict adherent to this rule, he was also a practitioner in the forbidden practice of essence transfer, a technique he believed could grant him immortality. This practice, though seemingly in contradiction with the Rule of Two, was viewed by Bane as a potential means to maintain his own dominance and philosophy within the Sith Order indefinitely. By mastering the power of essence transfer, Bane aimed to cheat death, transferring his consciousness into another body should he ever be fatally wounded or come to the end of his natural life. For Darth Bane, this was a method to potentially continue his rule, sidestepping the natural continuation of the Rule of Two, where the apprentice must eventually overcome the master. This pursuit of personal immortality posed a philosophical conflict within this new Sith doctrine. Essence transfer, however, came with its own set of risks and challenges. It was not only difficult to perform, but also required a suitable host, one that could withstand the immense force of a Sith Lord's spirit. The host's own consciousness had to be overcome, a feat that required significant preparation and strength, both physically and mentally. This is why Darth Bane began to view his own very powerful apprentice, Darth Zannah, as a potential host. As a few years of apprenticeship under Darth Bane turned into a decade, Darth Zannah became a formidable Sith in her own right, perfectly embodying the dark teachings and strategic cunning her master had imparted. The Rule of Two dictated that she must eventually challenge and defeat Bane to assume the mantle of Sith Master, thereby providing the efficacy of their dark lineage. This was something that Zannah had been preparing for since the very first day she met Darth Bane. In the ultimate test of the Rule of Two, the final confrontation between Bane and Zannah was not only about who would survive, but also about which personal philosophy would guide the future of the Sith. Bane's belief in the importance of essence transfer for himself as a means to extend his rule clashed with the foundational principles of the Rule of Two, which demanded the replacement of the old by the capable new. Zannah, on the other hand, needed to prove not just her strength, but her readiness to lead the fundamental contours of the new Sith ideology, something which Darth Bane had begun to doubt. Their fight was brutal and long. However, Bane, who had attempted to use essence transfer to claim Zannah's body as his last act, and thus continue his rule, ultimately failed. This failure marked a pivotal moment in Sith history, reinforcing the clear succession protocol inherent in the Rule of Two. The transition of power to Darth Zannah also prompted a period of introspection and perhaps subtle shifts within the Sith philosophy. As the new Dark Lord of the Sith, Zannah embodied both the culmination of Bane's teachings and the potential for new directions in Sith strategy. Her approach to the dark side and to ruling the new Sith Order could now incorporate lessons learned from the shortcomings and strengths of her predecessor. This entire scenario ultimately validated Bane's vision, even in his defeat. The essence of the Rule of Two, ensuring the survival and renewal of the Sith through the continuous challenge and replacement of the old by the new, had at last proven its worth. It guaranteed that the Sith would not only survive, but evolve, possibly becoming even more cunning and powerful with each generational change. Studying the relationship between Darth Bane and Darth Zannah, it becomes evident that their story was not only a personal narrative of master and apprentice, but also a critical juncture in the evolution of the Sith Order. The Rule of Two, as instituted by Darth Bane, was meant to secure the Sith's survival through secrecy and the calculated transmission of power from master to apprentice. Yet it was Bane's own innovations, such as his foray into essence transfer, that truly tested the boundaries of his new ideological narrative for the Sith. If Bane had succeeded with the essence transfer, it could have significantly altered the course of Sith history. However, his apprentice, Darth Zannah, firmly upheld the established principles of the Rule of Two, guaranteeing the Sith's continuity and survival for an entire millennium. Thank you very much for listening through this lore story. I found this particular element about Darth Bane quite interesting, especially because of his later addiction to essence transfer, as it contradicted the fundamental protocols of the Rule of Two. So through this story, I hope you learned something new and that you may have found it to be interesting. So if you have any other requests around Star Wars lore that you want me to cover, make sure to let me know in the comment section below, and it may end up becoming a video made specifically just from your request. And with that, never forget, the Force is always with you.